I was going to start this episode off talking about how excited I was to be making an audio journal episode 2 weeks in a row, but then my confidence dissipated as I started to wonder whether I actually made an episode last week. So I got on and I looked and I did. So here we are, audio journal episode 2 weeks back to back, which ordinarily wouldn't be something to celebrate, but I got really good at not making podcasts over the summer. So we're back now and it feels good. I'm happy to be here on this rainy Sunday morning here in Pennsylvania, and rain is actually going to play a big role in this episode because we were relying on the weather quite heavily this past week and it let us down a little bit. So you're wondering, what did you do last week, Greg? What happened? I want to know all about it. I got my AirPods in, I got my earbuds, I'm sitting here in the bathtub, I'm mowing the grass. I don't know what you're doing right now, but I'm happy that you're here. We went on a vacation last week. This was our one last Hail Mary grab for a little bit of summer, trying to like recapture a little bit of that thing that I love so much, which is warm weather and the beach. And we actually went to Ocean City, Maryland last week. And I know a lot of people were wondering, because we do it every year, it's like, Greg, where's the Ocean City vlogs? I'm waiting for you guys to go out and have fun and do all these things. Well, this year we changed it up a little bit. We ended up deciding to go right after Labor Day for a few reasons. One, we've always gone in August, and sometimes we went in June. I prefer August because the ocean is warmer, and the weather, it's a little bit warmer in August. But as a result of that, the rates that they charge, we stay at the Hilton in Ocean City, Maryland, which it's a great place. I'll give you some downsides here in a little bit from this trip, but it's a great place, but the prices have just gone crazy the last few years. I guess the same could be said just about everything, and I feel like vacationing is especially precarious this past year because everyone that was cooped up in 2020 because of COVID and maybe even into 2021, everybody right now is just like, frig it, we're going to go out and we're going to do our thing that we've been wanting to do forever, and as a result, like, everything's crazy. Even Disney in February was crazy. So we're like, hey, let's do this thing where we let summer pass, and on Labor Day, or right after Labor Day, let's go to the beach because, one, the rates are cut in more than half, which is crazy. And I also thought, like, it's not going to be as busy, the boardwalk's not going to be as crazy, and it's just going to be like overall a better experience going at that time. So we decided that, we'll let Clarkman do a week in school, and then we'll pull him out of school for a week, and we'll go to the beach. Like I said, like a last grab for summer. And on paper, that seemed like a great idea. Like, this was going to be like the ultimate end to our summer. But things changed a little bit once we got there, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So what we decided to do is we were going to leave on Labor Day, which was last Monday, to go to the beach, and we were going to stay from Monday night all the way up until Saturday morning. So basically that whole week. And I was thinking, like, as for traffic wise, we're going to be going the opposite direction of pretty much everyone else. And we were, like, on the way in, it was crazy because we're driving into Ocean City, Maryland on Labor Day, and literally, like, no problems getting in, but the whole other side, like coming out of Ocean City, the whole way like through Maryland, which pretty much if you're going down through that route in Maryland, the only place you're going is Ocean City. There's one way in. It was just cars like crazy coming in the whole other direction, a lot of standstill traffic, and I was just like, I'm so glad that's not us. So it was good going in. The weather that day on Monday, which was Labor Day, was great. We got to our hotel, and we got checked in and everything. Our room wasn't quite ready, but you can use the pool there before that. So we just went down to the pool and had a good time, and everything was fantastic. Where things changed a little bit, though, was the next day. And we knew that our first full day there, even from the forecasts from like a week before, they're saying like Tuesday is not going to be a good day. And I was like, you know what? Not a big deal. We have a whole week ahead of us. The weather after that, like Wednesday was looking a little sketchy in the morning, but like Thursday was looking amazing. Friday was looking amazing. Saturday was looking amazing. So I was like, all right, I can deal with one rainy beach day. So we got into Tuesday, and Clark and I were kind of just inside building Lego. I took the Nintendo Switch along, and I'm trying to play through this godforsaken game called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo, and it is so freaking brutal. It's a game that I didn't have as a kid, and I'm not going to get too into video games here, but I remember playing the game, and I know it's famous for its incredible difficulty. And I'm sitting there playing the Cowabunga collection for the Nintendo Switch, which I have right here, actually. I made a video on it on Greg's Arcade. You should subscribe if you're not subscribed over there. I do gaming stuff. And I actually played a little bit of that game. Well, the game's freaking brutal. Even with save states, like I was saving all the time, and then if I sucked, I would just go back to that save point. Something you couldn't do on the original Nintendo, and I get through. I am happy to announce that on Tuesday I did get through the water section, the dam section. It's notoriously difficult. The game is broken. The programming on it is brutal, but somehow through cheating, I was able to get through it. Mainly just saving like several times throughout the stage. I was like creating little checkpoints for myself, and I don't feel too bad about that. Like there's a part of me that wants to play the game the right way and get really good at it, but there's another part of me that's like, is the juice worth the squeeze? You know what I mean? Like I just want to get through this game. Like even watching people play it's a nightmare just watching people play it, but there's like a part of my childhood and like me as an adult, I just want to go back and like show this game who's boss. And they came out during a time when video games were purposely difficult, coming off of the arcade days when they wanted your quarters, and then making a pretty small game that they're trying to charge a premium for, and then you beating it in 30 minutes. That doesn't make for happy parents. So they make these games pretty hard, so like you keep playing them, which made sense at the time. These days games hold your hand like nothing else. Like there are really no consequences for doing anything in a game. You just get set back like 30 seconds on a checkpoint or whatever. But I digress. That was Tuesday. We built some Lego, which I will be sharing, I think, on my Lego channel. I have that. I have to blow the dust off of it because not much has happened there in the last week, obviously. But I took a Ninja Turtles set there, which was I think it's like their party van or party wagon or whatever they call it. I worked on a bit of that. Didn't quite get that done, but Clarkman built some Lego City cars. He built 3 of those that we got for Christmas from our buddy Brad. He finally built those up, and it comes with a little carrying case, which is lovely. And he also built the Dark Trooper battle or whatever the Luke Skywalker set is that's from the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. He took that and built that as well. So we got a little bit of Lego in. But our whole thing wasn't fun in games. It was also a little bit of a setback. I told you, like, we love the Hilton. I've stayed there several times. It's one of the most expensive places, I think, to stay in Ocean City. But it's also really awesome because they have a lot of amenities there, like 2 pools, one of which is a kid's pool that has this slide that Clarkman loves. It's got a whirlpool. It's got hot tubs. It's got a bar that you can just swim up to. They've got waitresses walking around taking orders and like delivering food to you. So it feels like it has like a resort vibe. You could take that route and spend a significant amount of money, or you could take like the motel route, which is there's a lot of that where you can just stay in like a motel and walk a couple blocks to the beach and probably get to Ocean City pretty cheap. But you know, this is like something really special to us. Ever since we went there, just like we just keep going back. This time we had a little bit of an issue with our room though. Not common to have, but our room just felt like really humid and really damp. I did notice like the door wasn't shutting properly. Like you really had to heave it and kind of move things around to get the door to shut. And I just chalk that up to the hotel being, you know, kind of aged and them not putting any money into it. Like it really feels like inside the place, like they haven't really done anything since maybe like 2010. Like if you look at the TVs on the walls, and like ever since we've been there, there hasn't been anything that's been changed at all. And I'm sure that goes back way further, because if you're in the hotel business and you're selling this place out, which all summer, this place is sold out. You can't just walk in there and be like, I'd like a room. They're like, yeah, it's sold out, which is why they charge what they do, I suppose. The purpose behind a hotel, I guess, just like anything, like any business, like insurance companies, for example, they want to collect your money. They don't necessarily want to pay out. So assuming that there's people that are willing to stay there and they're willing to pay the money that they're paying, they don't really care to do any upgrades or any fixing. But the issue that we had went beyond that. This was kind of unacceptable. The room felt really damp and wet and like just like not dry. And part of it we chalked up to, well, it's a humid day outside, it's raining. We haven't really had any rainy days at the beach, which is wild because we've gone on vacations in Outer Banks and Ocean City pretty consistently the last several years, and it's just been amazing weather. I don't know if we just got super lucky or what, but in this case, if you're wondering why the weather was the way it was, is because there was a hurricane off the East Coast that was causing some grief for us on that day, and more, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But I went down to the front desk and I'm like, hey, our room is like super damp. In fact, we had, you know, the little cardboard thing that your keys come in for the room, the keys being the cards that you unlock the door with. It was like wet like it was damp itself. Even a cereal box that we brought, the cardboard from that was damp. So you can tell there was a lot of like wetness or humidity in the air. So I went down and I was like, hey, our room is really damp. Is there any chance that we could switch rooms? And the guy was like, well, we can have a maintenance guy come up and look at it. And I was like, okay, when's that going to be? And he said, pronto. I'm like, all right, I like that. So I went back upstairs and I played some more Turtles and stuff, got super frustrated. And like an hour went by. And Cody was like, where's the maintenance guy? And I was like, I don't know. So I tried calling down to the main room, but the phone is like all staticky and scratchy and stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God. So they called me on my cell phone. I called down and they called me back on my cell phone and they're like, all right, he's coming over right now. This is like an hour and a half later. And then the maintenance guy comes in and he sees like there's mold on the ceiling. I forgot to mention that. There's like some mold growing. It definitely felt like what you'd anticipate going into like a New Jersey motel. Like you're staying at Wildwood and you go to the Daytona Inn or whatever, someplace we stayed at. I think it was like 2017. Little sketchy. Not something you'd expect from a Hilton that in the highest season charges like $700 a night now. Like I said, I paid about half that, plus I used a lot of points. So it was still like $300 a night. So you'd expect something decent, even off season. Guy looks at the ceiling and he's like, yeah, that's mold. And then he looked at the vents in the ceiling, like on the wall, top of the wall. And he's like, oh, I know the problem here. Those vents need changed or cleaned or whatever. And he's like, I can change the vents, you know, the filters, and then I can spray Tile-X on the roof and the ceiling and get that all cleaned up for you guys. And I was like, what are your thoughts on us getting a different room? And he's like, yeah, I would totally ask for a different room. And I'm just like, oh my God. We had all of our stuff unpacked, like everything's like laid out. We have Lego sets currently getting built. All of our bathroom supplies and stuff are out. All of our food stuff's in there. Like these are like a suite. So you have like a living room, a kitchen, you've got the bedroom area and all that. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to move, but I also don't want to like have like mold in our room. And if you can see mold on the ceiling, you can just imagine what the inside of those vents look like. So I was like, we're just gonna move. So he went down with me and they got me another room. They weren't overly friendly about it or accommodating in my opinion. And I should probably write an email to Hilton being like, hey, listen, like we expect better. And maybe I will, but, they got us a new room and that room was like so much better. It was like completely dry inside. It was one floor up and everything else is good. So we just had to move all of our stuff, pack everything back up and then move it. But it was just, to me, like what kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And this would be like the only reason I would complain is that we're like diamond level Hilton members, which I don't know if that means a whole lot, but it's one of their higher tiers. If you stay at so many Hiltons per night, you get upgraded to this. Maybe everyone's diamond at this point. Like they probably lowered the threshold after COVID. And they're like, you stay with us one night, you're a diamond member. But I feel like if you go in and you complain about there being mold and wetness in your room, the first thing they should say is, especially off season, like if the place isn't booked out, like if that place had been booked out, we probably would have been stuck in that room regardless. First thing they should say is, let me get you another room and potentially give us an upgraded room. Like, I don't know, one with a hot tub or something in it, because they have those on like the very edge of the place, just as like a I'm sorry type thing. Because you'll find like it doesn't take much from a company if you just give people like a little bit. Like say you have an issue with your dinner at a restaurant. If you have an issue with that, if they give you like a free entree or if they do something, you can take a dissatisfied customer and make them less like super thrilled. In this case, it was like, well, I know you're having a problem. Let me send a maintenance man. The maintenance man doesn't come. You have to like follow up. Then he finally comes. He says like he's going to be spraying the room with like Tile-X or something like that. And maybe needing to do paint work and changing the filters. Like, no, like we're not interested in like, especially on a day where we're stuck inside. Like if we're going to be out swimming all day on a beautiful day, no problem. More power to you. Like do what you need to do. We'll be back around 6 o'clock tonight or something to get changed for dinner. But yeah, it was just, that really rubbed me the wrong way with this place because it's a premium place and there's no reason that someone shouldn't have noticed that before. Like obviously the people that stayed in that room the week before us, I guess it didn't bother them, and maybe it wouldn't have bothered us if we were outside all day, but the first day that you really spend inside, you're like, wow, this place is like it's damp. Like Cody said, she almost slipped on the floor, like the tile floor in the kitchen because of the dampness that was on it. So it was beyond crazy. So I think it had to do with the door not sealing properly, allowing that ocean air in there. And then you also had the filters and all this other stuff. But luckily our other room was good. But I think that there should be some type of checklist or something with the people that, like the housekeeping people. Shouldn't they notice things like that? Like if there's a problem with mold in there, like you're cleaning, maybe did you not look up at the ceiling? Do you not feel the way it is in here? Like you think you would notice things like that. Maybe they're told just to do their job and shut up. I don't know, but there should be almost like a checklist, or even the maintenance checklist, where they should send a person in each room at least maybe once every week or two, just like with like, okay, that looks good, no issues here, no issues here. Do you wait for a person that's coming in for their week-long vacation with their family to have a great time? Do you wait for them to come in and like unpack all their stuff and get all set up and then realize that there's this issue with the room like that? Like that should be an embarrassment for them, which is, I think, a reason why I should write an email. I feel like I need to do it like now though, because if I don't, it's gonna be like, oh, no big deal. I tend to forgive and forget pretty easily. I'm not a grudge holder by any means, but in this case, like I feel like that's something that we should write in. I don't want to. You're probably thinking I'm like some type of Karen or something, but I'm not. I was super nice to the people. Like I think I was nicer to the maintenance. The maintenance dude was great, but I think I was nicer to the front desk people than they were to me. I was just like, hey, no problem. It's all good. And it was all good. So we got that all fixed up on Tuesday. We moved. And on Wednesday, that was supposed to be like a day where kind of sketchy weather-wise, but it looked like it was going to pull through at least ahead of time. But Wednesday ended up being worse than Tuesday. It was just rain all day. It was super windy. We went out. The only thing we could really do is swim in the indoor pool and go to the hot tub outside. But like the rain was pelting us. Like it was like stinging rain. So Wednesday was kind of a disaster as well, and that sucked because there was 2 days that we paid for at the beach that were just losses. And I was talking to a guy, I think it was the next day outside, and he was saying, and what Thursday I should say was just, it was sunny but windy, very windy, like constant wind, which made it a little chilly. Like when I was swimming in the heated pool they have there, the pool water was warmer than the air. But again, this is a part of coming in September. You're going to have 75-degree days, somewhere around that range. It's not going to be like the beautiful 85 that we would experience in Outer Banks when we go in June. But the guy was saying that they come every year at this time, and usually it is sold out. Like this is, right off, it's off season technically, but the rates go down, which entices people to come. And it's right after Labor Day, so a lot of people already have off that Monday, which enables them to take Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just like we did essentially. And you only miss 4 days of work versus 5. But he said a lot of people had canceled this year because of the hurricane situation, which maybe, like looking back now, I think I might have canceled this trip. But we did have, Friday was a little better than Thursday with the wind, so that was probably one of our best days there. But honestly, our very best day was Saturday. Saturday, which was the day we were leaving, the weather was just fantastic. Like if it had been that all week, it would have been amazing. But that was it. So we swam for most of the day Saturday and came home. But we did have a good time overall, other than the fact of the room situation, the weather. And then Cody got sick. Clark was sick like the Friday before Labor Day, which happens every year. He goes to school. He goes to school the last week of August. He gets sick over Labor Day. It's just what happens. It's 2 years in a row now, and I'm assuming it's going to happen every single year for the rest of the time he goes to school. You go to school, you get sick. So we're thinking that maybe she got a little bit sick from him. So she like had like an inner ear thing that was going on. And, you compound that with the weather, the room, the amount of money that we spent to have rainy days where he sat inside and played Nintendo Switch. It's like, it was kind of a disaster, but it's the risk of taking a trip to the beach. You're not always going to have amazing weather. I don't know if I would do the September thing again. It was less busy, obviously, especially the hotel. There was times when we were the only people. In fact, I would say 95% of the time, Clark and I were the only people in the pool. In the ocean, it was a battle. It was a battle to like stay where you are. Like Cody and Clark were up playing in the sand, and I went out to the ocean, and it's constantly wanting to push me like further south. Like the waves kind of come from the east, obviously. And I was like battling just to stay where I was. So the waves were choppy as heck. And this is all because of the hurricane. If that hadn't been out there, we probably would have had an amazing week. Like it would have just been perfection. We did go to the boardwalk quite a bit. I got my Thrasher's French fries, which I love. I got some dough roller pizza, which I love. We played skeet ball like crazy at Marty's Playland. Clark Man loves skeet ball. And it's only 25 cents to play. So we did that like 3 nights in a row. We went to the boardwalk. I got to talk about the generosity of people and just how awesome people are at places like that. Because we would be playing skeet ball and people would walk by and they see Clarkman playing and they gave us like all their tickets. Like someone gave us 750 tickets, which is an incredible amount. And it's just because like they're just there to play. The tickets are a byproduct of it. They don't really care to get all the little collectibles and things that they have at Marty's. Some of the stuff's like super jank. And if you want anything really good, you got to get like crazy tickets. Like they had a Nintendo Switch there for like 50,000 tickets or something like that. You'd probably have to spend several $1,000s in the arcade to actually get that. But nonetheless, like we're playing, people are handing us tickets and stuff, and it's pretty cool. I'd say like 3 or 4 different people gave us tickets while we were playing. So we went over and we tallied up all of our tickets. I don't remember how many we had. I'll have to go back and obviously I recorded all this stuff, so there'll be vlogs about all of this. But we had enough tickets to get this picture frame, and we got this little lighthouse thing, which we have another lighthouse that we have on a shelf in our bathroom. So it was like, I wanted to get something that we could remember this trip by, even if it was like bad in some regards with the weather and Cody getting sick and having to move the room and all of that. It was still like, it's still a family trip that we had some good times with. And we got the picture frame and we got the lighthouse. And the next night when we went to the boardwalk, it was actually like really nice. That was Thursday. And the sun was setting, and I got this great photo of us. It was like a selfie photo out at like the pier or dock thing at the very south side of Ocean City, right by where the boardwalk is. And the lighting on it's amazing. It looks great. So it'll be really awesome to have that photo in there. And I'm going to try, when I look at it, I'm going to remember the time we had together as a family, how we got to eke out a little more summer and the good times of swimming and just the adventure that it was. I'm not going to think about the bad stuff that I brought up here. And again, I hope when I talk about this, I don't seem like a Karen or whatever a male Karen is. I don't know if they have a name or not, but you know, I just tell it how it is. So it's like, wasn't all amazing. It wasn't all bad. It was somewhere in the middle. It was definitely probably our worst beach trip. But man, it's some of the things like that I love about Ocean City I got to do, which is the boardwalk stuff. I love that, especially Thrasher's French fries. If you ever go to the boardwalk in Ocean City, you got to try that. But a part of the trip kind of got me longing to do something maybe next summer where we go to like a lake. I have like this vision in my mind. I don't know where this is or how I'll find it, but I want to rent like a cabin on a lake with like kayaks and stuff, and I want to go fishing and do all these things there, and mountain biking and walking and hiking and all that stuff. So I'm thinking about maybe forfeiting Ocean City next year for that, because we also had some issues with like dining this time too. I don't know if we just got spoiled by the epicness of Outer Banks and how amazing the food is there, but it's all of our usual places that we went to in Ocean City just really weren't that good this time. And I really love snow crab. It's one of my favorite things in life. And when I go to the beach, that's what I indulge in. And there's a snow crab shortage, which also kind of sucked on this trip. And if you want crab, it's like $20 per pound. And you might think, oh, that's a lot of meat. No, they're weighing the actual crabs, and the crab meat with inside these crabs is very small, like just fractions of that. So like when I go to all you can eat at Captain George's, which is our favorite restaurant in Outer Banks, God, I probably eat 10 pounds worth of crab, which would cost $200 if you were to do it by the piece rate. And they make their money though with these buffets where Clarkman goes, he has to pay $20. He eats like $3 worth of food. I eat $100 worth of food probably, and Cody she probably eats less than the money that they charge her too. So it all balances itself out. But that was a bummer too, and just some of the choices that I made like for dining, just they weren't very good, and some of the places I just decided like I don't want to go back to. So Ocean City has kind of lost that nostalgia for me, I guess. Like sometimes things are better left in your memory, like the Turtles game, for example. Like I remember playing that with friends, and I remember liking it probably because I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But then when you see it for what it is, sometimes you're just like, oh, this isn't as good as what I had hoped or thought, and then it kind of ruins those old memories a little bit. But it was still a good time. And if I know when summer comes around next year, I'm going to be booking a trip for Ocean City, I'm sure. Because it's only 5 hours away, which isn't bad. That's the one thing about Outer Banks. When you go there, it's an all-day event trying to drive there. You leave 7 o'clock in the morning. You get there like 7 o'clock at night. For Ocean City, it's like you leave here 7 o'clock in the morning. You're there by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, yes, it's lovely. So that was our Ocean City trip. not the most ideal situation, but it was a week that we got to enjoy together, and we had some good times. We went shopping. We did eat some good food. I put on some weight. I thought I would do my little fitness update here. A week without going to the gym and eating all kinds of food put me up 2.8 pounds. So I'm in a bad spot right now, but tomorrow we're going back to the gym again. I'm getting back on the grind, and I'm excited to do that. And I plan to report my losses and or gains here each week. I'm trying to find something that measures body fat percentage. I looked it up briefly while I was at the beach. If anyone knows of something that I could like buy on Amazon that you can measure your body fat, because I want to see like what my body fat percentage is now, and I want to like track that throughout time more than just weight, because I'm also doing strength training too. So you kind of, the numbers don't necessarily just equal out. But the big thing for me is just I want to get my body fat percentage down very low and my muscles very high. So we'll see what I can do, and I'm going to keep myself accountable here on this here podcast of mine. So now after our trip, we came back Saturday night, which was last night, and I drove the whole way back. So by the time I got home, I was just like done for. But here we are on Sunday. I'm recording my podcast, back at it 2 weeks in a row, which is awesome. And I'm excited for like this week. I'm not excited necessarily that summer is over. Like this is officially, like when we got out of the pool yesterday, that was officially the end of summer, like absolutely done. But now there's like this new chapter starting. And last week's episode was titled A Fresh Start, and I really do feel that way because there's so many things that I want to do down here in the studio that I'm excited about, mainly with the Lego channel. I've got so many projects and ideas and videos that I want to make, and I'm so happy to have the time to do those. Like I just want to invest an incredible amount of time into this. And I think the way that I want to do it is I want to listen to podcasts while I film things or while I work on things. And I was thinking about filming everything and making time lapses of all the things that I'm working on, whether it's organizing, whether it's building something, whether it's designing something, whatever it is, I want to film it as a time lapse. And I'm like debating whether to really do this idea that I had once before that people really didn't like, they didn't love it. But I think you, if you're listening to this, you would love it, where I make each day almost like a journal entry where it's going to be a voiceover using this setup here. And I'll just talk about what I accomplished that day. So you'll see it through like video, time lapses, regular video, showing all that stuff. There is some question whether it makes it less personal because like I wouldn't be directly talking to the camera like I do now. It'd be more of just like a journal entry of like, oh, today, you know, for example, today I sat down and I cleared off my desk and I sorted out these Lego parts that I had and I put those in the respective bins. And then I decided to finish up this DeLorean that I started over the summer. I got half a bag done and I got 2 more bags done of that, and go on and be like, tomorrow this is kind of what I plan to do, come back to see what I work on. And I would really like that personally as a person that views YouTube content, because I feel like it's way more clean and professional. Like it's like, okay, here's directly what I did throughout that day and showing the visuals from that. It feels like really good to me. I might do it as just an experiment to see what happens. But I love that idea. So while I'm recording all these time lapses and stuff, so instead of like live streaming, for example, and sitting there and trying to talk about something essentially by myself, with myself for an hour, why don't I just listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook or whatever? And then that can bring me new ideas and new insights into my mind that I can then share on this podcast. Because ultimately, like, there's only so much that's happening inside your brain, and you need to do things to expand that. And I think the best way to do that is through reading or listening to audiobooks or through podcasts, interviews. I found this podcast the other night that was recommended to me I was like, dude, this is going to be my jam. It's called the Rich Roll Podcast. And I don't know much about Rich Roll, but he has all these very inspirational people coming on. For example, the one that I saw was this 100-year-old guy that is like very active and runs marathons. I'm on sort of like the fitness side of YouTube's, like fitness tubes. These people that do these body transformations are super inspiring. So I've been watching those, and it gets me kind of hyped. So I think they were like, ooh, you'll like this podcast. And I'm like, ooh, I like this podcast. So I spend my days listening to podcasts and absorbing information the best that I can, while also getting things done that I want to accomplish. And then when I'm done with that, I record this little thing where I talk about what I did. I upload that as a video, and we see how it goes. Just trying different things, and I'd like the production to go up a little bit, as opposed to me just sitting here rambling about whatever Lego thing that I'm currently working on. I think we can make some cool stuff out of this. It's going to take a little more time, a little more effort, but I'm willing to put that in to increase the output, I guess, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited to do that. So there's going to be a lot of I think a lot of Lego content coming forward. More content here as well. I made a little video this past week, new series called, what did I call it? 3 questions. I was like, it's called We Connect. No, this is the We Connect cards. Inside this box are 60 cards with various questions on them, ranging from easy ones, medium ones, and then hard ones. And I'm answering one of each of those in a series that I'm doing here. I think I'm going to do it weekly. I'll be able to do it for 20 weeks here, which will take me for 5 months. But there's all kinds of other ones like this as well. And I think you can get questions online. So I'm going to keep this going like forever, I think. So we have the audio journal. We've got the 3 question series. And I really love, what I'm going to do, I think, to intro each episode maybe, is to read off some of my favorite answers that you guys had from the previous episode. I think that'd be kind of cool. Maybe one for each question that was asked. I'll just pick my favorite one. So we'll have you answer 3 questions, and then I'll answer 3 new questions, and we'll just go back and forth like that. I do want to have at least one more series on this channel, on my podcast channel. I'm trying to figure out what that should be, and I'm wide open to ideas. It's kind of hard because I feel like the audio journal kind of details my week, and it's like a recap of everything that I did. And then the 3 questions is kind of like, get to know me a little better. If you want to, if you dare. I think that's pretty cool too. But I want to have like one other thing that I do. I don't know if I should talk about I could talk about news things that comes up, or maybe just I thought about maybe just like coming down and shooting something each morning, maybe making an audio only thing. I'm not really sure, but I want to do more in this channel. I just need some ideas on what would be like good podcasting content. Most podcasts that I see, it's like they have like one weekly show. It's not common that you have like a weekly show and then like a midweek thing and then like another thing. But I like that idea. And I know people hopefully would be interested in having more content on this channel. In fact, I heard from some of you guys in this last episode here. I was looking at the feedback on it, and there was a lot of really supportive comments. You guys are down just for whatever we want to do, which is pretty cool. I saw some support on the weight loss thing or my fitness journey, which I thought was cool. Some of you guys talking about how you we're happy with the move to this channel. Just tons of support. Lots of you guys want Cody to come on, so maybe Cody and I should do a show. That would be a good one. Mr. and Mrs. Brickitect come on to discuss something each week. And she'd be down for doing that, but it'd have to be audio only because she doesn't want to get all dolled up for just making this thing. So, and she feels more comfortable just recording it in audio than sitting in front of here being judged by all of you people. So I can respect that. If you guys want that, we can make that an audio thing. But you'd have to go over to the podcasting platforms to partake in that, I suppose. A lot of the other feedback, again, it was just like people really, I mentioned in the last episode that the UK vlogs kind of flopped. People weren't really loving it too much, but you guys liked it. And for me, that's all that's really important, making what I want to make. And hopefully there's somebody out there that enjoys it. And that's what I found on this channel, I guess. Pretty much every channel that I do, there's an audience for pretty much anything that you want to do on YouTube. And all you have to really do is just put yourself out there or share what it is that you want to share. And regardless of how small that topic may be, or how unpopular or how boring you think you are or the thing is that you do, there's somebody out there that's like, wow, this is speaking to me in a way that I really love and I think I'm going to subscribe to. That's my pitch for you to start a YouTube channel. I tend to do that a lot, not only for myself, but for you guys too. It's really cool to have the support of people that just are interested in seeing what you're up to. And that's kind of what this is all about. So that's my audio journal for this week, recording this on September 11th. Oh, it's such a terrible day, but keeping it going. Every week we'll be back. Next week, September 18th, you'll have another episode here to listen to. And in the meantime, we'll have some more 3 questions. And if you can come up or help me come up with, I need you guys. I need your help. Help me come up with another series. I'd love to have like 3 things or 4 or 5 or 7. Let's fill the whole week with stuff here. Even if it's just a crazy idea that you have, I'll make an episode on it. We'll try to do it. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say if you made it this far. Thank you so much for tuning in to my audio journal. It's an honor to have you listening and or watching, whichever route that you take this on, whether it's YouTube or Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It's just pretty darn cool, and I'm happy to be here and to be back 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row. Next week, we'll see you guys, hear you guys in the next episode. Still working on that outro. We'll get there. I promise you that.